Welcome everybody to another podcast, the best DBs in the Washington area. That is Bruce Johnson and Darren Haynes. We're talking about the Redskins. Redskins now 1-1 after a 27-20 win over the Rams out in LA. So the mood feel a little bit better. I feel like it feels a little bit better.
Absolutely. It was a tough win on the road. Back against the wall, 0-1. I mean, God help us if we're sitting here 0-2.
Yeah,
what are we going to talk about? So they had to win. They weren't great. Didn't make the costly mistakes, they had made in week one. I'm satisfied. It's as good as it gets, I think.
Now, as we go along, please ask your questions. We're going to answer all of them. We'll try to answer all of them the best way we can. But moving forward, so we look at this 27-20 win. We used to talk about that position where they could be 0-2. Was there something that stood out, something that you liked in this game?
Well, for starters, I like the fact that Jay Gruden tried to establish, and with a lot of success in the first half, his running game. He allowed our line to dictate, take it to the Rams' defensive front, which is pretty good. And man, were we running hard. I mean, these guys look very impressive.
Listen, what we know as former running backs, the running game establishes everything. You run the ball really well, open up the passing game. You run the ball, it milks the clock. You have the ball, the time of possession was totally different in this game. And obviously, what did they have last week? 64 total yards, and I think Kirk Cousins had like 30 of them.
Yeah.
So to come out right away with Rob Kelley, who I believe had 63 yards in the first quarter, compared to the 64 that they had in the entire game.
Absolutely.
That is a great sign. I mean, they use Fat Rob like crazy. We're going to update on his injury status as well. But I couldn't be happier. We talked about the offensive linemen and the Hogs 2.0 in week one. They're 0.2. Head coach Jay Gruden leading up into that week, he actually challenged the offensive line. And so it was good to see how they stepped up. They didn't have all the sacks they had in week one. The running game was just split wide open, especially with Chris Thompson and what he did. So it was a good sign to see from the running backs.
Yeah, and Chris Thompson is one of the veterans of this team. He has challenged every one of these guys, to look at himself in the mirror, and he came to play. I think he set the tone. One of the smallest guys, on the field, and also a guy who's been injury prone over the years. Mm-hmm. He really, I think, for the first time, really showed us what he's capable of doing.
What I like about him, he's kind of like that different speed. You think of like the thunder and lightning, like Rob Kelley would be the thunder, and then you have Chris Thompson comes in the lightning. And so when you get so used to getting pound by Kelley, next you know Thompson, little draw play, and the guy's taking it to the house. So that is, I can't stress enough how important it is for that running game. I think the running game and the fact that they ran like 6 or 7 straight plays running the ball just shows what the game plan was. It worked, obviously.
And will they stick to that? Everybody knows who's watched Jay Gruden over the years. He's a pass-happy former quarterback who likes to put that ball up, okay? Kirk Cousins passed for less than 200 yards for the game?
It's been
totally unlike
mediocre.
him.
Yeah.
Totally unlike him. In the past, it's been 300 yards, a cloud of dust, no runs on, no yardage on the ground. Just the opposite this time. And if this is what this team is about, I'll take that. I like that.
Make sure you ask questions. We'll answer them along with this podcast. I'm Darren Haynes. This is Bruce Johnson. You talked about Kirk Cousins, and he's been struggling first in week one and week two, and he wants that big time contract.
He's got a fat contract.
Correct, but I'm talking about that fat long-term contract, and I love social media. And a lot of people were talking about, hey, he's not doing what it takes to earn that. Do you agree?
Well, he didn't earn that fat contract yesterday. What he didn't do, he didn't hurt the team. He didn't throw a pick for 6, as he's capable of doing. He allowed the rookie for the other team to do what you might expect a rookie to do with all that pressure on him. Kirk Cousins didn't hurt the team yesterday. And let's give him credit, for driving us down there, getting that 6 point, to Grant, in the end zone. Give it to Kirk, but that's what he's supposed to do.
I like the way Grant's playing, and we can talk more about him. This is a guy who week one came in, filled a lot of the time for because Josh Doctson wasn't playing that much, and he stepped up his game. And then he gets the game-winning touchdown against the Rams, and to me, I trust Grant more than I do Terrell Pryor right now. And Terrell Pryor, I believe he only had one drop. It was just one.
Right.
Which is
one too many.
Correct,
Because
one too many.
It wasn't a difficult catch. The great receiver.
Wait, Terrell Pryor's? What wasn't a difficult catch?
The drop, it was not a difficult catch.
Oh, yeah. I totally, okay.
And my point is the good receivers, and we're not even talking the great receivers, okay, the Hall of Famers, but the good receivers, they make the catches when the ball is thrown to them, when it's thrown behind them, when it's, did you see one of those catches, that the Rams player got when he stretched out like this?
Yeah.
Almost had to go. Oh, that's what we expect of Pryor. He's a starting wide receiver in the NFL. And, we used to have a receiver, I think his name was Gardner, that the Redskins drafted #1 from Clemson. We used to call him 50-50, okay?
Oh, that's not good.
50% of the ball thrown to him, he'd catch.
Gotcha.
Right.
So now let's look. Oh, do we have any questions?
Yeah, we've got a few people who
right.
have chimed in. A number of people have said, "Hail to the Redskins, HTTR." Shout out to Claudia.
Shout out
to Veronica.
Claudia. What's up? What's up, girl? I don't know.
That's good. That'll work.
Same from Veronica and Melissa Brinkley. We did have a comment from Ms. Redskin Williams.
Ms. MS.
Yep.
Okay, so she's not married.
Okay.
She said to her that the play calling seemed better, and she felt the team played inspired, looking like they were going out and trying to win the game rather than playing not to lose it.
What was two? That's the Ms.
Williams. Ms. Redskin Williams.
Ms. Redskin.
Ms. We got it. To kind of go off of the follow up what she was just talking about. I just got off the phone with at Jay Gruden's phone conference. And Jay Gruden actually went to Kirk Cousins before that last drive and challenged him, saying, "Hey, you need to step up. This is your time." And he did just that. And what he said, what he learned about his team is that they're resilient. They found a way to step up. And when you have a team that steps up, that rises to the occasion, it shows you a lot about your football team, and that's a good thing. So it's even though the play calling was great at the beginning, and then all of a sudden it was kind of up and down. Third quarter, the way they ended that game was the way you want a good football team to play.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad that Kurt responded. The cynical side of me is that do you really need the coach to tell the $20+ million quarterback, we need you to step up? He should know. He should be stepping up. He should say to the coach, I got this, okay? But we're talking Kirk Cousins, okay? Maybe his confidence, was waning, okay? That's fine. The line, they stepped up. I think it's fine. The outcome, we'll take it. We're 1-1. I don't have any complaints here. But the question I'm asking, and I think a lot of Burgundy and Gold fans are asking, what team is this? Is this a 1-1 team? Is this a playoff team? Will they continue to get better, which we all hope? What do we have? We still don't know what we have here.
So we have a couple commenters who were kind of torn just like that, right? You've got Danny Sherman, who says after 2 games he thinks they're one of the worst teams in the NFL.
He must be a Cowboys fan.
And you've got Kerry Atkins, who says, like Bruce, you were just alluding to, give it a few more weeks to play against some really good teams like Kansas City, Oakland, etc.
Yeah.
She's cautiously optimistic. HTTR.
Yeah. And I would agree with that. Cautiously optimistic, but I've watched this team enough, and we've all watched the NFL enough. We were playing against the Rams, okay? They were a lousy team last year, but we were playing against a guy who knows the Redskins offense, okay? And we were the ones making that long road trip. This was a trap game. We could have lost this game, okay? They won. That's great, but man, we are going to be tested in the next couple of weeks.
Bruce, I disagree. I don't think it was a trap game at all. I think there was a lot of hype going into this game because of the 40-something points the Rams put up. People were thinking, okay, this Rams team could be very powerful this year. So I don't think anybody was kind of overlooking to the Raiders or the Chiefs. I really felt like there was a lot of pressure on the Redskins, and they were focused on this particular game in Week 2 against the Rams. So I don't think it was a trap game. And there's a lot of things I disagree with you, Bruce. Is the Kirk Cousins getting him pumped up like you have a head coach for a reason. Yes, they're all grown men. But you always have to have that coach, that trainer on your side that help you get you pumped up. I mean, we can bring it way back. You can go to Rocky. I mean, who was his trainer? Mickey? What was the old dude's name? He was like 90 years old.
Rocky was the underdog, though.
But you still have somebody in your ear getting you pumped
what
up.
I'm saying on the history that we have with Kirk Cousins and this team. Kirk Cousins has a history of panicking, throwing the pick six, and at the wrong times, losing his head. Kirk Cousins, the verdict is still out in terms of whether he can put a team on his back and lead this team down and win as a lot of other quarterbacks. He did this yesterday, and so let's give him props, points for that. He did this yesterday. Can he do it consistently? And I think a majority of people, the verdict is still out on that.
Well, most people say you're as good as your last game.
Yeah, so to the topic about Kirk, Ronan McAvoy just chimed in. He said that Kirk needs to be able to close games. It always comes down to the last 2 minutes for the Redskins. And Bobby Johnson just said he'll believe in the team if we come out against Oakland and Kansas City.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big challenge because, listen, you have Khalil Mack over there. I mean, this Raiders team, this was a team that I felt like could have made a good playoff run last year in the Raiders if Carr didn't get hurt.
Absolutely right.
So to me, this is going to be their toughest challenge so far this season.
Is this a Monday night game? Or
Sunday night.
Sunday night. And then we have a Monday night game?
It's the Chiefs.
Okay, let me tell you something. Redskin fans already are putting that Monday night game down as a loss. We don't play well on Monday night. Now we have to play the Chiefs on Monday night. So, no.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
My point being, if they can split with these two teams, okay, we'll probably take that. Most of us fans will take that if we're 2-2 after we go through these two teams.
Well, one big concern is there's a lot of injuries. And just to update you guys at home, and while you keep asking questions, Rob Kelley, I had it down, but it's a rib cartilage injury. And the good news, well, here, let's go to bad news. It's going to be hard as heck for him to breathe. Right. The good news is head coach Jay Gruden says that Rob Kelley's a tough guy. He would be surprised if he doesn't try to play with it.
Can he get hit there? I mean, he's a running back. You know what I mean? Can you put enough pad there that he won't feel it every time? And the defenders will know this.
Put the rib pads on. I mean, he
defenders
probably won't like it, but
yeah.
But the way rib pads are now, like back when, well, I don't know what they had when you played, but when I played, they were kind of thick, but now, I think now they kind of almost just like a little like tank top with some little pads in there. So you could probably play with that. Play with that.
Right.
Anything else?
Well, so we've asked our audience here which injury they think is most significant, and one of the first comments came from Kerry Hawkins, and you jumped right into Rob Kelley, and that was the first thing. Fat Rob's injury hurts the most.
Yeah, and you know what? I will agree because it was Rob Kelley who set the tone on offense, getting the ball, runs very, very hard. That ground game, pounding, that wears down on the defense.
Yeah, he was looking really, really strong. What about Jason Reed? What about his injury?
Reed, what did he have?
What did he have?
He's day to day. I know that. Reed,
some kind of chest.
Yes,
injury.
correct. Yes, chest injury. He is also day to day. Everybody actually who is injured is day to day. Josh Norman's on that list too, day to day, with a shoulder injury.
Yeah, and the big lineman Moses, is that his name? He had an ankle or something, but he came back to play to finish the game. Yeah.
But one of the things that when we look at these injuries, especially with Rob Kelley being hurt, now you're going to have Samaje Perine, who's a rookie out of Oklahoma.
He looked okay.
Yeah, he looked okay. You still kind of like shaky a little bit because of the preseason game when he fumbled, I believe, on his first carry. But what I believe was what Kirk Cousins was saying, and I agree with him, is that you don't really have to teach young offensive guys how to run with the ball. It's more about getting the footwork right, knowing your plays, getting the timing right. I think that's the only thing that's going to hold somebody Perine down. If he finds a hole, Perine's going to do what Perine does.
Yeah. Pick up passing, blocking.
That's another big thing.
Because there's so many great running backs in college that don't make it into the pros for those reasons you just mentioned. Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
So just one of the biggest trending topics this morning, too, related to the Redskins' injuries was Mason Foster popping his dislocated shoulder back in, not getting any treatment, and then ending up with the game-clinching.
How do you do that? Did anybody see him do that, or did they just tell us about it? Do we have video of him doing that? How do you pop your own shoulder?
Well, I don't know. You just, bam, you get ready to go. But listen, you always want somebody on your team that won't do a Josh Doxson and fight through the injuries. Go out there and play. And Mason Foster, the dude wanted to play. That's a grown man move.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, you don't want anybody to be injured, but we've been in games where
he knew what was at stake.
Correct. What's at stake? And there's a time where you step up and you rise to the occasion. It shows a lot about your character and the team that you play on. And Mason Foster, he can play on my team any day.
Yeah, absolutely. Game-winning interception. I mean, he wasn't game-winning, but he stopped.
It sealed the deal.
It sealed the deal. Exactly.
It sealed the deal.
Yeah.
What else do we have?
So let's look ahead a little bit.
Okay.
Do you think, given 2 weeks in, is there enough concern on the offense to know that they're really missing guys like Garcon and Jackson?
I think only time will tell. I mean, was the passing game any better this week? Maybe a little better. I think he found Jason Reed, a little more often, and should have found him, the first week. It was nice to see Grant, catch that touchdown. But as you were saying, Grant doesn't have the speed. He doesn't make up, for the loss of.
He has speed. He just looks slow.
He doesn't have Jackson's speed. We don't have that. We don't have that burner. We don't have that guy that takes it off the top. So the passing game is still a work in progress as far as I'm concerned. And again, I don't want to sound like I keep beating up on Kirk Cousins, but it's the most important position. He's the highest paid guy out there.
That's why you keep beating up on him.
There was still some throws that he wasn't making. I mean, some of the sports writers were saying that, there were some things downfield that he didn't see. A couple of times, he put the ball down, he's running, he stopped looking. So Kurt is not comfortable yet. He's not the quarterback we need him to be. We don't need him to be great, just good.
Well, Jay Gruden said today during a press conference, he felt like the offense was literally right where it needs to be, close to where it needs to be. And I was like, okay. But because missing some of these guys, yes, I love how the running game was great, but when it came down to the passing game, yeah, they just don't have that one guy where it's just he's always a threat. You always got to watch Desean Jackson from going deep.
Yeah.
They don't have that one guy. They thought that was going to be Terrell Pryor.
And who is our possession guy? Is it the
That's
guy?
the thing. Listen, I'm not hating on the offense at all. I really was very happy with what they're doing, but name one player where it's he's the man, how the Patriots have Rob Gronkowski. Yeah, he's that reliable. When it's third and long, you give him the ball.
Yeah, and even when you can use him as a decoy. You don't always have to get the ball to him, but
correct.
You have to account for him.
He's that much of a threat that they always have their eye on him. And all respect to Jordan Reed, he's one of those great players, but as of right now, there's not that one guy where it's okay, let's try to double coverage him.
Jason Reed's hurt again. I mean, can he stay on the field? No, you're absolutely. What about the defense, though? How do you think they played yesterday?
Listen, the defense they've been good in my book all season long. They've held their own. Obviously, the key interception by Mason Foster. They kept Jared Goff, I want to say, a little bit in check. Yes, it was a close game.
And they got some big plays. They gave up some big plays.
Correct. Yeah, they did. But compared to the defense last year,
right?
This is a much
I didn't
better
see
Redskins
the stats.
team.
How did they do on third down? How did the Rams do on third down?
Do we have
do
third
we
down?
know?
Yeah, he's gonna pull it up. We can keep talking.
They seem to have done a lot better, this week on third down conversions. Holding up the Rams from.
Well, everything seemed better because they're in the winning mode. It wasn't like they were trying in catch-up mode. So when you're watching a game and it looks good, you don't really think about, what was the third down?
What was your highlight of the game? Pick one play.
Oh, Chris Thompson.
Think so?
Yeah. I mean, listen, there's no greater feeling, and this is actually what they talked about after the game. When you have a running back who gets the ball, a speedster guy like Thompson, where you put him in space, that's when it's dangerous. And you get a lineman, the linemen love run blocking more than pass blocking.
Absolutely, yeah.
Pass blocking, run blocking, when they get into that move, that sets the tone. They love that.
That was the highlight of the game. The second highlight of the game had to have been the Rams running back. What's his name? Greeley? What's his name?
Todd Gurley.
Gurley. That leap he did into, oh my God. That's something you dreamed of doing all those years you played ball.
First of all,
he was a hurdler.
Listen, go to YouTube, Darren Haynes highlight tape. You'll see me leap over a guy.
Okay.
I just put it out there. But how are you gonna give a highlight about a Rams guy? We're talking about the Redskins here.
Well, I was trying to be objective there. I was saying second.
Defense held them to 5 of 12 on third down.
It's not bad.
You can live with that.
Yeah, you can live with that. That's not bad. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not bad. It's much better. What was it last week? I mean,
that would take a second.
Yeah,
we can get that.
Yeah.
Let's look ahead though again. And you were just talking about the defense in particular. And Norman now is banged up. You still don't have Su'a Cravens. A couple of other injuries.
I have an update with Su'a Cravens. I mean, it's
let's have it.
It's really not an update, but the report came out from Ian Rappaport that he was going to return on Tuesday, and you will think the head coach would know what's going on. So, I asked Coach. I was like, what's the latest on Su'a Cravens? He's like, I don't know. I really don't know anything about that. And I was like, what was the last time you had a conversation on him possibly returning? And the last conversation he said he had was when he decided he was going to leave.
Right.
So that right there, that kind of just like, okay, is he really returning? Because if he's returning, either coach is lying to me or he's just not coming back. Because as a head coach, you'll know if your player's coming back.
And if he's returning, my question is this. Number one, let's talk about what's going on the field right now. What does he bring to that secondary? How badly do they need him and his skill set if he's returning?
I mean, so far they've been holding his own, but Sua Cravens, I mean, they drafted him high for a reason.
Yeah.
The guy was starting in the secondary for a reason.
Right.
So he's a guy who will make the team better. Like if
Makes
Josh Norman's hurt, yeah, you have a guy who can come in and step up.
Right.
But you want Josh Norman in there.
And if Cravens is returning, and players aren't likely to hold that against him, the fact that he's taking his time and going off and taking care of personal business.
You know, a lot of people when I bring it up in the locker room, you know, a little bit, they're all more of like, you know, he has to take care of his stuff. They kind of been tight-lipped about not really explaining maybe their true feelings. I'm sure they all have different feelings. Right. But as of right now, just like any locker room, what goes on in the locker room, you keep it in the locker room. They're not really telling anybody really how they truly feel.
Right.
So the Redskins were they allowed 8 of 14 against the Eagles in Week 1 on third down. So that is a week-to-week improvement.
Yeah. It's not that much better though.
And talking about the defense in the secondary there, is that probably the key matchup for this team next week, having to go against Amari Cooper and Crabtree?
Yeah, Crabtree, Amari Cooper.
And
a good quarterback.
Quarterback who can light it up.
Yeah. But that's what I told you. I was like, the Raiders is going to be their toughest matchup. This is the Raiders are a playoff team. Period.
Yeah,
they're a playoff team.
And the Burgundy and Gold offense has to help our defense by keeping the Raiders offense off the field. You know what I mean? You've got to time, possession, run the ball, take time off the clock. Don't let these guys run up and down the field, or it's going to be a short night.
That was actually a little bit of concern for me in the game on Sunday when Grant scored and just the time management. Time management. I'm just like, whoa, we're leaving Jared Goff and the Rams with way too much time. So that's something we got to look at as far as their time management, especially when they play the Raiders. Hey, make sure you guys keep asking us questions. Bruce Johnson, Darren Haynes, we'll answer all of them. Do we have any more?
And opinions. I like to know what the fans think.
Yeah, what the fans think.
A lot of the conversation's really been about this past game and not so much looking ahead to the Raiders, except for the points we talked about earlier, Bruce, is these next 2 games, we are going to learn a lot about this football team. Aaron Munson said, he didn't think it was a particularly convincing win, but it will be if they beat Oakland and Kansas City.
What was his name again?
Aaron Munson.
Aaron, let me ask you something. If the Rams make the playoffs, if they're a playoff team, would you consider that a quality win?
No, Aaron's like me. What? The Rams are a playoff team?
Bro, listen, they only have 1 loss on the season. I mean,
but it's against the Colts, the hapless Colts. I mean, this Ram team is not a play. Aaron and I both would be stunned.
I just think it's too early for a comment like that, so I'm just trying to see where his head is at.
We'll be stunned if the Burgundy and Gold are in the playoffs. We'd be more stunned if the Rams are in the playoffs.
See, here's one thing, too, I look at this. When I try to compare teams, we're 2 weeks in, and then you have the Redskins who lost to the Eagles, and you're okay. Then you're wondering, okay, like, how bad are the Redskins or how good are the Eagles? And then the Eagles play the Chiefs, and, it wasn't a blowout. And the Chiefs beat the Patriots, so it kind of gives you an idea like the Eagles are really maybe not that bad, and the Redskins they only lost to the Eagles by that
and what did we learn about
incomplete fumble, we'll call it.
I totally agree with everything you just said. And what did we learn about the Cowboys yesterday and how they lost badly to Denver? We're celebrating that. We think it was a great loss for the Cowboys, by the way. But what did we learn about the Cowboys? Some of the luster, some of the glitz is gone. Their second-year quarterback.
They got tape on them now. They had a year to study them. Yeah. So that'll be an interesting game to see.
So is the division wide open? I suppose I'm asking.
Oh, is the division wide open? Well, you know what? Before the game started on Sunday with the Redskins, I was looking at the standings and I was like, "What? The Redskins are tied for second?" And I was like, "You're 0-1, but you're tied for second."
Yeah. Okay.
So I guess that kind of piggybacks off of what you're saying.
Everybody's
that this
0-1 and the Giants play tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. So that this division is wide open, but it always is. I mean, it's been like that for the last few years.
Yeah, and I won't be surprised if the Burgundy Gold split with Dallas, split with the Giants. I mean, come back and beat Philly. They're capable of doing that.
So what are the predictions for this weekend? You got to put it on tape on Monday.
Woo. All right, that's my cue to go. What's your prediction? You go first. Seniority first.
I'm not a homer, just like most of the fans and the people that are, dialing in here. This is good stuff because, they're not sounding like homers. This is a Sunday night game.
Mm-hmm.
Why do
Team's
we play?
pumped up for this one.
Why do we play football on Sunday nights and then Thursday nights? That's why the NFL.
It's all about money.
That's why
man.
the NFL numbers are down and people are down. It's too much football. But
I don't know. Who are you? What do you mean too much football?
It's too much football.
Who are you?
It's why viewers are tuning out. Seriously.
Well, I tune in.
I know.
It spreads it out so I can see every single game. I can watch my Thursday game. One game off the list.
This is how you make your living. This is how you make your living.
All the 1 o'clock
games. Rest of
games.
us are like fans.
4 o'clock games and nighttime games. Then I get one on Monday just to cap it off.
And we're on the road, right?
This Sunday? Week? No, Sunday. They're home.
We're home.
Yep. Versus the Raiders.
Skins in an upset.
What's the score?
Skins by 3 in an upset here. Excuse me? I didn't hear you.
Oh, I'm not.
Excuse me? What did you say?
I gotta let it breathe for a little bit. Because my heart is telling me.
Hold on a second. Did you ask him about his heart, or did you ask him to pick a team?
Let me
pick
go.
A team.
Hold on, let me go. My heart is telling me to go with the Redskins because they're going to feed off of this momentum and they'll pull off a win. And maybe the Redskins aren't as bad as maybe people think or Bruce thinks they are. But my head keeps telling me you're smarter. You're smarter than that.
I don't say they're bad.
This
They're
Raiders
a team
team
with
is
a lot of
good.
issues. I would never call them a bad team.
All right, listen.
They're a team with some issues.
Whatever. Y'all going to hate me. Raiders going to win by 13 points.
13. Okay.
I hope. Listen. I hope next week, Tuesday. We're going Tuesday. What? Tuesday, 2:30. I hope next week, Tuesday, 2:30.
Yeah.
The Redskins prove me wrong. Seriously, I hope so. Redskins in the heart, but in the mind, I got to be smarter than that. The Raiders are a better team on paper.
I've never seen anybody wrestle with their decision like you just did.
I'm just. But
they're not going to hate you for picking against the team because what we say it doesn't matter. We don't have to play. We don't have to tackle. We don't have to block.
I still got to cover them.
Yeah.
I'd rather cover a team. I'd rather cover a team making it to the Super Bowl.
So that's
than a
what
team
it's about.
When everybody else is playing, I'm just like,
okay.
All right, Wizards Capitals.
You're more concerned with what the players are going to think about you because you picked them to lose. Don't worry about them. They can now go out and show you just gave them momentum, okay? Locker room stuff. Put it up there in the locker room.
We'll look to more material, huh?
Darren picked Skins to lose. Put it on the locker.
So remember, Bruce Johnson, I'm Darren Haynes. Questions, please ask. We will answer. Oh, we're saying bye. We'll be back Tuesday at 2:30. Master T will be here?
Master T will be here.
I can't pronounce Master's a cool guy from the Washington Post. He's the beat writer for the Redskins for them. I can't pronounce his last. It's like Stefasian or something like that. We just call him Master T.
That's cool.
But Master T, he knows a lot about the program, so you definitely don't want to miss what he's going to bring. He has a lot of sources, finds out a lot of information, so he give us all a different perspective on the Redskins. You don't want to miss that. So for Darren Haynes, he's Bruce Johnson. We'll see you on Tuesday, 2:30.